Well, this is going to be a pretty simple video. Um, I have a Glock 81 field knife, and it has a decent edge on it, but I want to put it in a kit, so I'm going to touch it up with the work sharp and the blade grinder attachment. I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm not going to be wood carving with it or anything. I just want it to be able to cut when I need it to. So we're going to start off with this 120 grit belt, which is actually somewhat worn because I've been using the heck out of this thing since I got it. I gotta get some juice to it here. A second. So, yeah, if you're interested, that's what I'm going to be doing. And this won't really take too long. I don't like to run this thing too fast because I don't like the heat buildup. So there's 6 or 7 different levels here. Usually I go second from the bottom, especially when I'm just going to be starting to feel kind of where the edge is and everything. You can tell right here. Right now I'm set at right around 25 degrees. I think that's a pretty good place to start. I'm going to see how it feels and how it looks after I take a couple of strokes. We'll take a look and see where that 25 degrees falls. I don't want to take the bevel back too much further. It'll look crappy. And honestly, I might need to beat on this at some point, so I don't want to thin it out too much. I want it to be somewhat robust. If I want to be doing fine work, I'll have other knives for that. So we'll take a couple of passes, and then we'll take a look and see where we're at. I always like to keep a marker by it. We'll color in that edge. This isn't fine cutlery that we're dealing with here. This is a $35 Glock Field knife. So might as well color in the other side too, since that's the side I want to be doing first. So I just need it to be a functional blade that I can count on. So all right, let's take a couple of passes and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so now that is more out to the edge. So we didn't come up the bevel. So in order to bring it up the bevel a little bit more, I can reduce my angle a little bit. So with this knob right here, I can dial this. I'm going to dial this down to about a 22 degree. And we'll make another couple of passes and see if that cleans that whole bevel up. Now see how that climbed all the way up? It cleaned that whole bevel up. So it looks like 22 is where we're going to want to be. I'm going to take a couple more passes, then we'll go to the other side. convex the edge, and I do have a burr on the other side. Good. Looking good. I already have a burr all the way along here. Now, I have I have all the way down to this fine 4-micron belt, and then I can strop with this cloth belt and the green compound. And then for this, I have even finer belts in that 4-micron. I just don't see a need for that with this knife. So I'm going to go to this 65-micron belt, and then I'm going to run this 22-micron belt. And I think that's as fine as I'm going to go. Maybe I'll go ahead and run the 4-micron and strop it, but I'm not going to go super fine like to a 12,000 grit. It just isn't needed. Now to change the belt, this is your tensioner. And I've found if you just grab hold of this and try to shove it forward and down, it's kind of tough. But if you put your finger up in here, it acts as a really good place to squeeze from. And it makes that super easy. I don't know. Simple. And then to take this belt off, if you start here and start pulling it off from this end, I find that this can kink up and kind of get caught in here. So I usually grab the belt up here and kind of pull out on it. And then the belt comes out super easy like that. So we're going to toss this 65 micron on. And we'll do a couple of strokes on each side with this. So the edge is getting refined and nice already. This quick. That's why I like this work sharp. This work sharp cannot put the edge on that will equal what I can do with my wicked edge going all the way through. But for something like this, I don't necessarily need the wicked edge level. And this does it so quickly. Man, it's pretty doggone sharp now. So again, squeeze, move that lever down there. Grab the belt here. Comes right off nice and easy. You slide the new one on. Make sure one little place where you can get hung up is this little backing plate right here. If you put the belt underneath it, you can kind of get caught for a second. Not a big deal, just something to watch out for. All right. Take a couple of passes with this. I'm going with pretty light pressure and moving fairly quick. The instructions say an inch a second. Man, that is It is sharp already. It really is. This is great. I think the guided section works good for some stuff, but I do find myself using this blade grinder attachment more than the guided. I've used the guided for kitchen knives, but I mean, I could do kitchen knives on this one too. Okay, we'll do the fine. One thing I did notice in the instructions, they tell you when you're coming across to rotate the knife like this as needed. And I personally don't agree with that. In order to get this curved part, I'll go and I'll pick up on the end in order to get that. And I think that's what I always did with my stones. And so I don't see a need to change it with this. I think if you go like this, it starts grinding back. You know, you're always going to be grinding like this. If you change the direction you're grinding, you're going to end up losing some of the belly of the knife. Where if you just keep it always grinding perpendicular like this and you just lift up in order to get it to go down the curved part, you're going to keep the original profile of the knife. Yeah, that is nice. This is exactly what I wanted. How long has this taken us? It's what we're 12 and a half minutes into the video, so it's a little bit, but I've been yapping. So let's put the cloth belt on it. And the cloth belt, this is, they sent this with the unit. It's just a cloth belt that's loaded with this green rouge. Now, I've seen on Amazon where they have a leather belt for this. So I think I'm going to get a leather belt and some 1 micron diamond paste and get that. I think I might be happier with that than I am. This cloth belt with the green compound works fantastic to finish this off and to remove the burr. No doubt about it. But I think a leather belt loaded with a 1 micron grit might make me a little happier. I maybe even get several leather belts. Maybe get a 6, a 3, and a 1, and then maybe even go down to a 1/10 of a micron if you really want. I'm going to just wipe this off on the towel here. Okay, we'll just make a couple of passes with this cloth belt. Then we'll check and see where we wound up. Light pressure. All I want to do is make sure that the burr is gone and finish dressing any last minute deals. Put the final polish on. Right. You have to be careful when you're going across. When you're on this, when your tip is halfway across the belt and you're raising it or doing it like they say, don't go past halfway. And with a flexible belt, if you put pressure on this, it can move. Let's see if I can show it better. See how the belt can flex and move, and that will wrap around the tip, and it can round your tip off. You see, we did not do that here. That tip is nice. So let's test it. I just got a whole bunch more magazines, advertising stuff. I'll probably take this guy, and a lot of these pages are already shot. So, all right. So, Glock Field knife is fairly narrow and fairly thick. So, it's definitely not going to be the best paper slicer or anything. It's just more of a utility knife. But let's see if we can get some to slice anyway. Oh, yeah. Slices real good. So those results right there, we have definitely an extremely sharp blade on a knife that was never meant to cut paper. It's more of a combat utility style blade, but it slices paper like nobody's business. And we did that with the belts that came with the Worksharp Mark II kit when I bought it. These aren't any aftermarket belts. These are just what came with it. And these have been well used. I've already sharpened quite a few knives with this, and I have not changed belts. I've only used the ones that have come with it so I could get used to what they send. That way, when I do use some of the other belts, I have purchased other belts for it. Replacement belts for these, of course, and then some that are finer and one that's even coarser. I bought an 80 grit instead of this 120. So when I want to do a machete or something, I can really bite in better. But anyway, got that kind of edge on a Glock Field knife with fairly well worn belts that came with this unit. This is just a win. So if you guys are still with me, man, I really appreciate it. That's fantastic. If you have any questions about this thing, about the Ken Onion, or heck, about the Glock Field knife, or about the belts that I got, about my additional belts, let me know. Because I definitely am thinking about digging in very soon to the additional belts. And I just have to decide which knife to use. You know, which one do I want to go super fine on? And then we can really put this guy to use and see what's the ultimate. Can I get actual hair whittling like I can with the Wicked Edge system? All right, guys. Throw me a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for watching this. And you guys all take care. All right. Thanks. Bye.